Professor Roubini, thanks for having the chance to talk to you. It's great to see you again here in Davos at the BEF. The sun is shining. What is your outlook for the global economy in 2014? More sunny or more cloudy?
Well, the global economy overall is recovering. There is going to be stronger growth in advanced economies, especially in the United States and the United Kingdom. Japan is going to be okay, but not exceptional growth. And the question mark, of course, is still about Europe and the Eurozone. There will be a return to positive economic growth. There are less tail risk of a breakup of the Eurozone, but some of the fundamental problems of the Eurozone remain. Low potential growth given slow reforms, anemic recovery given credit crunch, a strong euro, still high private and public debt as a share of GDP, and a problem with competitiveness of the periphery of the Eurozone has not been resolved. So I would say overall is improving even in the Eurozone, but maybe one fragile corner of the world is still the periphery of the Eurozone.
Is the tapering of the US Fed one of the biggest challenges we are facing so far for this year?
It is a challenge, but I would say that compared to last year where there was a taper tantrum when unexpectedly the Fed said we may taper, markets now have priced in this tapering. The long-term US bond yields have gone from 1.6% closer to 3%, so it's not anymore a surprise for Europe, it's not a surprise for emerging markets, and the reaction of the market to the beginning of the tapering has been so far quite stable. So I would expect if the economy in the US grows to 2.5% to 3%, every 6 weeks the Fed is going to reduce its purchases by 10 billion, so they're going to be done with quantitative easing by the end of this year.
Stock markets are very, very bullish so far on both sides of the Atlantic. Do we already see a bubble here?
Not yet a bubble. Certainly not in Europe. Valuations have gone higher in Europe, but they're still depressed compared to historical averages. In the US, instead, the price-to-earning ratios is now higher than the historical average. And if the US were to have another 20-25% stock market return this year, you could talk about a bubble at the end of the year. So far, I would say not a bubble just because the profits, the earnings of the companies have grown so fast that these values of the stock market are justified by the current level of profitability of the corporate sector.
A last comment on deflation or inflation. The IMF just warned and said, okay, there is a risk of deflation of at least 10%. What is your opinion?
I would say that the risk of deflation is a serious one, especially in the Eurozone. There is already outright deflation in Greece and a few other countries in the periphery. The overall inflation rate of the Eurozone is only 0.8%, well below the target of 2% of the ECB. And I think that monetary policy in the Eurozone is still too tight, that the ECB should do more aggressive policies to jumpstart growth, to try to avoid deflation, to weaken the value of the euro. And I would hope that maybe by the second half of the year, the European Central Bank is going to go actually into outright quantitative easing, purchases of bonds as a way of weakening the currency and avoiding deflation. What the Bank of Japan did with quantitative easing stopped the risk of deflation. I would say that the ECB should follow the example of the Bank of Japan and do something similar.